What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning?
Ottomans had attached very importance to Constantinople since the establishment of Ottoman Empire. From time to time, they have tried to take Constantinople, but until the Mehmed II, they couldn't be able to achieve it. Their reasons to conquer were based on four factors. These were regarding religious tensions, territorial integrity of Ottoman Empire, provocation of Byzantine Empire, and trade. Firstly, they had different religions. While Ottomans were Muslim, Byzantine Empire was Orthodox Christian. Additionally, Constantinople has religious importance for Muslims since it is believed by Muslims that Prophet Muhammad praised the one who conquered Constantinople by saying, "One day Constantinople will be conquered. How wonderful and blessed are the commander of its conquest and his soldiers." Such a belief has made Muslims more eager to conquer the Constantinople. In addition, Christians had feared the enlargement of Ottomans because of the religious reasons. To exemplify, each day Christians are lost and the devil's followers grow in number and strength of arms. The most holy name of Christians is denied and Muhammad, the son of devil, exalted. Because of the fear of Ottomans, they had the courage to protect Constantinople. To give an example, in the 15th and 16th centuries, the idea of a unified Europe on the basis of Christian ideology and a holy war against the Ottomans was either a myth or an effort to exploit public opinion in Europe. It is clear that religion was thought as an influential instrument to be used against Ottomans by European states. Second reason for Ottomans is that Constantinople was disrupting the territorial integrity of Ottoman Empire since it is located in the center of the empire and blocks the transition between Europe and Asia. Ottomans before the conquest had to use Gallipoli Strait since there was no alternative. The third reason for conquest is the provocation of Byzantine Empire against Ottoman Empire. Since the establishment of the Ottoman Empire, Byzantine has always provoked the Turkish principles and supported them in order to convince them to fight or revolt against Ottomans. It was an influential instrument to prevent Ottomans from attacking Constantinople, and therefore it restricts the military capability of Ottomans. Thus, Ottomans believed that Constantinople must be conquered in order to put an end to this provocation. The final reason to conquest of Constantinople is trade. In this era, Constantinople was the trade hub of Asia and Byzantine Empire has been earning well through taxing the trade goods. It was both beneficial for sea and land trade and it has made Constantinople very valuable for Ottomans since it will bring wealth to the empire.
In the 6th of April, Conqueror started to deploy his army starting from the Golden Horn to Adrianople. Just after deploying his army, he immediately deployed his cannons and commanded his army to shoot weak sides of the walls. These cannons were enormous and way stronger than ordinary army ammos. After the placement of cannons, Mehmed II ordered his envoy to speak with Constantine and forced Byzantines to surrender. However, Constantine rejected this offer and Ottoman army started to fire these big cannons toward the Constantinople walls. Meanwhile, Ottoman naval force started to attack the Golden Horn walls and occupying some gates. However, two battleships were not able to prevail against Constantinople's naval force and walls. Moreover, cannon attacks were not as effective as Conqueror expected as well. Therefore, these two main failures forced the Sultan to review his strategy with his Grand Vizier and commanders. He decided to make battleships direct from the lands via bridge. In order to fulfill this plan secretly, he ordered cannon experts to attack gates and walls severely to occupy enemy from other sides. And it worked. In the night of the 21st and 22nd of April, 67 Ottoman ships had successfully landed to the Golden Horn. Hence, Ottoman naval forces took advantage over Byzantine fleets, and it created a shock effect over Constantine's army because they were not expecting this kind of strategic move. After a long 3 weeks of depredation and shelling, both sides were not able to gain an edge over each other completely. However, in the 21st of May, Ottoman army and ships had sequenced in front of the Golden Horn. They decided to make a big attack over the Golden Horn and walls in order to weaken the Constantinople. Thus, they were able to destroy some walls and gates. After all these occurrences, Sultan sent another envoy to Constantine and forced them to surrender because he thought that the city had really weakened and it caused a famine of inventory and arms. However, Constantine declined this offer again and again. Consecutive distressing weather events was like a reporter of big conquest, as Christobolus reported. After the rejection of surrender offer, the Sultan ordered his army to maintain the cannon firing both morning and night. Ottoman cannons, consequently, was able to pierce some points in the walls, and it allowed Ottoman infantry to rush towards the city. Although some of the soldiers were tired and tried to escape, the commanders of Sultan threatened them strictly and pushed them towards the city again. In the 29th of May, 53 days of huge assaults against the city resulted in victory. Sultan entered the construction of the palace and came to the Hagia Sophia. He ensured the citizens that they will be insecure, and he let them live according to their beliefs and cultures. Despite there is a lot of rumors about the death of Constantine, the things that happened to him after the conquest remained unknown.
The impact of the conquest upon the Ottoman Empire was profound and affected almost every area of life, from culture to politics, economics to military affairs. The walls were repaired and Constantinople was repopulated with Christian Greeks, Muslim Turks and others. Some were encouraged by tax privileges, but many were forced to settle in the largely empty city. Anticipated, the conquest of the city was followed by a substantial building program, which produced a new palace, an impressive hospital with students and medical staff, 2 sets of barracks for the Janissaries, etc. Furthermore, Sultan Mehmed II declared himself to be the new Kaiser or Caesar, the legitimate heir to the Roman and Byzantine empires with a claim to territory far beyond the Ottoman Empire's existing frontier. The conquest of Constantinople cut Italian trade through the Dardanelles and Bosphorus to the Crimea. Therefore, many Armenians moved to the Ukraine or Poland. Some Italian craftsmen went as far as Moscow, and within 20 years, all Genoa's possessions beyond the Bosphorus had been lost to the Ottomans. The impact of the fall of Constantinople on the Byzantine world was fatal, and many Orthodox Christians blamed it on the disloyalty of the Byzantine military elite. Conversion to Islam was never as widespread in Greek-speaking communities as among Slavs and Albanians, but it became quite common in the Byzantine aristocracy. Furthermore, the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople caused deep shock in West. Renaissance humanists were horrified that Greece now lay under Turkish domination, as the scholar Aeneas Silvius Piccolomoni wrote, "Here's a second death for Homer and for Plato too. Now Mohammed reigns amongst us. Now the Turk hangs over our very heads." Nevertheless, most Europeans still felt safe behind the powerful Catholic kingdom of Hungary, and the fate of the Orthodox Christians was regarded as God's punishment for their weakness and sin. However, when Hungary collapsed in the early 16th century, the rest of Europe did fully awake to the danger from the east.
Bu dünya ne sana ne de bana kalmaz. Dünya ne sana ne de bana kalmaz. Sultan Süleyman'a kalmadı böyle hiçbir kitap yazmaz.